Hi everyone, welcome to today's Current Affairs Daily Notes. Today's topic is data localization. I'm Ritvisha from GK Today and let us begin. American digital payments player PayPal is working with its partners on localization of data as mandated by the Reserve Bank of India. So today we are going to discuss the following. What does data localization mean? Why is it necessary for India? What are the policies that imply data localization till now? What are some concerns and challenges? And is localization really necessary? We'll also discuss some possible questions. So to begin with, what does data localization mean? Data localization is the act of storing data on any device that is physically present within the borders of a specific country where the data was generated from. So why is data localization necessary for India? Well, there are several reasons. Foremost are seven main reasons. Number one, for securing citizens' data, data privacy, data sovereignty, national security and economic development of the country. Then there is recommendations by the RBI, the committee of experts led by Justice B.N. Srikrishna, the draft e-commerce policy and the draft report of the cloud policy panel, which show signs of data localization. Again, there's the extensive data collection by technology companies that has allowed them to process and monetize Indian users' data outside the country. Therefore, to curtail the perils of unregulated and arbitrary use of personal data, data localization is necessary. Digital technologies like machine learning, artificial intelligence, and Internet of Things can generate tremendous value out of various data. It can turn disastrous if not contained within certain boundaries. With the advent of cloud computing, Indian users' data is outside the country's boundaries, leading to conflict of jurisdiction in case of any dispute. Data localization is an opportunity for Indian technology companies to evolve an outlook from service to products. International companies will also be looking at Indian market, and this will benefit the growth of local ecosystem. More data centers in India could mean new power-hungry customers for India's renewable energy market. That means data localization could boost India's renewable energy. So, what are the policies that imply data localization? So, we start with the Sri Krishna Committee, which wants to localize data for law enforcement to have easy access to data, to prevent foreign surveillance, to build an artificial intelligence ecosystem in India, and because undersea cables through which data transfers take place are often vulnerable to attacks. Then there's Reserve Bank of India, which has also imposed a hard data localization mandate on payment system providers to store payment systems data only in India. Barring limited exceptions, telecom service providers are not allowed to transfer user information and accounting information outside of India. Then there are goals set in the draft National Digital Communication Policy of 2018 and the guidelines for government departments for contractual terms related to cloud storage, which was in 2017, and draft e-commerce policy and the draft report of the cloud policy panel, which show signs of data localization. Agreements for contractual terms related to cloud storage of 2017. All of this are entailing to cloud panel policies and data localization. So what are some concerns and challenges? Several of the recommendations, including the draft e-commerce policy, falter on a key ground like the clause over the negative economic impact of data localization. This approach exhibits lack of evidence-based policymaking. Having data in India does not mean that the domestic companies will be able to access this data. Localization might aid the growth of data center and the cloud computing industry in India, but as matter of wide public policy, such an approach is extremely myopic. Mandating localization is less of a solution for data protection and might be less relevant to promote e-commerce. And given the comparative trade advantages enjoyed by one section of Indian industry in this context, mandating a strict data localization regime could be perceived as restrictive trade barrier and spur retaliatory measures. There is a possible rise in prices of foreign cloud computing services in case of a data localization and its impacts on MSMEs as well as startups relying on these services. The possibility of triggering a vicious cycle of data localization requirements by other countries as a response to India's possible data localization will be detrimental for the global data economy. Also, growth will be restricted if data cannot be aggregated internationally. Infrastructure in India for efficient data collection and management is severely lacking. So, is localization necessary? Indeed, it is. It is the need of the hour. There is an urgent need to have an integrated long-term strategy for policy creation for data localization. Data localization needs to integrate a wide range of social, political, and economic perspectives and creating an opportunity for local data centers all over the country. Devising an optimal regulatory and legislative framework for data processors and data centers operating in the country is also required. Adequate infrastructure in terms of energy, real estate, and internet connectivity also needs to be made available for India to become a global hub for data centers. Adequate attention needs to be given to the interest of India's information technology enabled services and business process outsourcing industries, which are thriving on cross border data flow. Now, let us move on to possible questions that may be asked. What is the main need for data localization according to the government? Of course, the correct answer is option D because data privacy, sovereignty, and security all are equally important. Which company is currently working to fulfill RBI mandate for data localization? Correct answer is PayPal. That's all for this video. If you want to read more about data localization, simply follow our link in the description below. And if you liked our efforts, please do like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.